Champions Cup round number 3, folks. Ulster taking on Toulouse. URC top 14 matchup. We're going to go through some predictions, some squads, some stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts on how this one is going to go from Belfast this Saturday, Sunday morning for me and NZ. 8 p.m. seems like a slightly late kickoff. Is it? Or do you guys often do 8 p.m. kickoffs in Belfast? Feels like slightly later than usual. I feel like these sides have played each other a fair bit as well in Europe in recent times. Pretty familiar foes. Toulouse has got a better record than Ulster does in their matchups, but Ulster certainly won a few of their matchups. So, yeah, there's a lot of internationals in the lineups for both sides. So, I reckon this could be one of the games of the round. Toulouse doing pretty good. 2-0 in their 2 from 2 in their Champions Cup games thus far. Ulster 1 from 2. They beat Racing 92 in their last game, where they really, scored some pretty nice points. And they're coming off the back of an away win over Leinster as well, where their cross-kicking game in particular was phenomenal at unlocking that Leinster defence. And many of those guys who played in that game are playing in this one, so a bit of consistency from the Ulster boys. Kitsoff, Stewart, and O'Toole is two same props, but Tom Stewart is up from the bench for this one. Rob Herring, is he injured? Because he is not in the 23 at all. Kieran Trudeau, Ian Henderson, same second row. Dave Ewers up at the blind side. Sean Raphael and Nick Timoney in the rest of the back row. I had to look up Nick Timoney's stats because I feel like he's a workhorse, and sure enough, 21 tackles in the Champions Cup thus far. That's just from 2 games. 88% is a tackling return, so pretty good. He's won a turnover. He's beaten 4 defenders. Yeah, Nick Timoney. He's a proper workhorse player at number 8, and he'll certainly be getting through a bit of work up against a star-studded Toulouse side this weekend. Also, scrum time, you would imagine, for the likes of Kitsoff and O'Toole. It's going to be a big area for them to try and kind of get parity or put a bit of pressure on. John Kearney, Billy Burns, really great combo in that last game against Leinster. Like I mentioned, those kind of cross kicks and whatnot. Billy Burns was often the guy pulling the strings in that department. McCloskey and Hume. Hume's back into the 23, so great to see him returning because they are a very, very elusive and powerful midfield combo. You guys know I've got a soft spot for Stuart McCloskey, the big direct ball carrying unit. Yeah, really, really fun player to watch. Ballacoon and Stockdale are on the wings, and then Mike Lowry at fullback. So it's an all-Irish capped back 3, although how many caps have they got between them? Stockdale would surely have more than Lowry and Ballacoon back together, but Stockdale's Irish stocks have fallen in recent years. But yeah, we'll see how he goes up against a fellow international in the Toulouse ranks. John Andrew comes in to the 23 alongside Marty Moore. Matty Ray has dropped to the bench for this one, as is Luke Marshall and Will Addison. Nathan Doku's still there, Alan O'Connor's still there, Andrew Warwick's still there. So yeah, a bit of a mix of consistency and some tweaking to the side. But yeah, I like to see the return of James Hume, and I look forward to see Mike Lowry hopefully having a few carries from the back with that elusive footwork of his. For Toulouse, I mentioned they are 2-0. They kind of like Ulster put some points on in their last game when they played in Europe, and also put some points on against Lyon when they played in their last game in the top 14. I think it was like 45-0 or something crazy. So, yeah, Toulouse are a pretty good side. What can I say? Cyril Bay, Pietro Malvaca, and Dorian Altaguiri. That's an all-French international front row, with Malvaca and Bay getting starts after being on the bench in their last top 14 game. Richie Arnold and Emmanuel Miafu are the same second row after getting the same, or being in the same lock-in duo last week. And then Cross, Gelon and Romat are the back row. So Romat comes in from the bench. Gelon switches to number 7, and Cross, the tackling machine, he is there at number 6. And man, looking at the stats for the Champions Cup in particular, the Toulouse guys are a lot of the leaders in many of the categories. Like Dupont at 9, he's the leader for clean breaks, he's first equal, and he's the leader for offloads. He's also one of the top guys for like run meters and all kinds of stuff. It's Anton Dupont, you kind of expect that. Thomas Ramos, who's there at 10, he's been playing 10 most of this year for Toulouse. With Intermax still not being back, he's got 30 points. He's the top point scorer of the Champions Cup thus far. Peter Arki is there at 12, and Delib is there at 13, so that's the same as last week. Malia switches to the right wing to allow Kinghorn to come in at fullback. Kinghorn seems to be a bit of a Champions Cup specialist thus far for the Toulouse boys thus far. I think he's only played 1 game in the top 14, but this is like his 3rd game in the Champions Cup, so He is getting some time in the Toulouse jersey, but mostly in the Champions Cup. And Matisse Lebel, who's I think got a couple of tries thus far in the competition, is there on the left wing. So it's a very, very attacking-minded, powerful, and hard-working defensive Toulouse side. A lot of big guns on both sides. That's why I think this game is going to be one to watch. Marchand, Anu'u, and Laulala are there as the front row replacements. So all international front row replacements. Brennan and Jack Willis are there. Jack Willis drops to the bench after starting in that game against Lyon. And also you got like an Argentinian international there in Chocobares on the bench. So yeah, a lot of talent in both sides. I mean, you look at the stats in their last Champions Cup game, the Ulster boys against Rugby 92 had 12 clean breaks to 6, 21 defenders beaten to 11, and tackled at 92%. So those are phenomenal numbers, great attacking numbers. But if they had 12 clean breaks in their game, Toulouse in their game against Quins had 24. So very dangerous. They put the pressure on the Quins line out. They had 32 kicks from hand as well, which when you're getting over 30s tends to be when you say that side kicks a lot. So you don't think... I know there's been a lot of talk about kicking being boring and whatnot, which is not what I subscribe to. But yes, Toulouse are one of the exciting sides who kicks the ball a fair bit. So the Ulster guys will certainly need to be mindful of that kicking game and be in the right positions, catching those high balls as well. Bookies have got the Toulouse away win by 5 points. Rugby Forecast algorithm takes it a step further and says Toulouse by 11. I know it is a sellout at the Kingspan, so they'll need to get behind their boys and make lots of noise. It's an 8 p.m. kickoff, like I mentioned, which is 9 p.m. for you guys in France, and I think that's 9 a.m. for those of us here in New Zealand, which is kind of perfect timing. For you guys in America, it is on Flow Rugby. I'll put a link down to Flow down in the description. They're affiliate of the channel. You can watch live or on demand, plus the URC and the Top 14 and Challenge Cup. And we didn't even get Challenge Cup broadcast here. So there you go. You guys let us know your thoughts. Do you reckon Ulster, and I'm assuming their yellow kit, will be too good at home? Or this star-studded Toulouse side, do you see them keeping their perfect record in the Champions Cup? You guys let us know your thoughts. And talk to you guys again soon. See you later.